Imagine this: a quiet morning. You open your refrigerator and take out the loaf of bread you saved from yesterday. It looks fine on the outside, but one bite tells another story, dry, hard, and lifeless. You pause and think. What did I do wrong? I used to think the same way. But after years of observing, I realized something simple: the fridge isn't a safe place for everything. For bread, cold air makes the starch crystallize and push out moisture, stripping it of its soul, that soft, warm aroma we all remember from buttery breakfasts in an old kitchen. One of my 72-year-old patients, Helen, once told me I keep my bread in the fridge so it doesn't mold, but now I don't even enjoy it anymore. It's like chewing wood. I smiled and said, "You don't need a fridge, just a paper bag. Keep your bread at room temperature in a paper or wooden container with airflow. If you want to store it longer, slice and freeze it, then toast it directly when you need it. It'll be warm, crisp, and fragrant again." Sometimes preserving the flavor of life simply means letting things stay where they belong. I'll never forget one afternoon when Linda, a 68-year-old patient, brought me a soft, sprouting bag of garlic. She laughed. "Doctor, I kept it in the fridge to keep it fresh, but it looks like it's trying to grow a tree." I smiled and said, "You didn't do anything wrong. Garlic just doesn't like the cold." Garlic is a living food. It still breathes even after harvest. When trapped in a cold, damp environment, it stops breathing, softens, and begins to sprout. Those green shoots don't just taste bitter. They rob garlic of nearly half its allicin, the powerful compound that helps lower cholesterol, fight infections, and boost immunity. A study from the University of California found that after just 10 days in the fridge, garlic loses up to 50% of its healing power. For older adults, that's a loss of nature's best heart medicine. I often tell my patients, don't force garlic to live where it can't breathe. Hang it somewhere dry and airy, away from sunlight. Let it stay alive in its natural warmth, the way it's meant to be. Then each clove will keep its fiery aroma, strong oils, and gentle power to protect your health. Once, my 74-year-old patient Richard walked into my clinic holding a dark, mushy avocado. I kept it in the fridge so it wouldn't spoil. He sighed, but it spoiled anyway. I looked at it and said softly, "It didn't spoil. It was hurt by the cold." Avocados are delicate souls. Born under tropical sunshine, they thrive in warmth. When chilled, their healthy fats oxidize, creating free radicals instead of nourishing energy. In just a few days, 90% of vitamins E and C, two of the most important anti-aging nutrients, vanish. You can see it. The flesh turns brown, watery, and slightly bitter. I tell my patients, don't make your avocado endure the cold your own body dislikes. Let it ripen naturally on the kitchen counter, under gentle light and steady warmth. If you don't finish it, keep the pit inside, brush the cut surface with lemon juice, and wrap it with a slice of onion. A simple trick that keeps it fresh for 2 more days. A perfectly ripe avocado, smooth, creamy, still bright green, can be one of the purest forms of medicine for an aging heart. I once visited the Millers, a lovely couple in their 70s, in their cozy kitchen in Oregon. When I opened their fridge, I found a wet bag of onions, some already turning black with mold. Mrs. Miller said I was afraid they'd dry out, so I put them in the fridge. I shook my head gently. It's actually the moisture that's killing them. Onions may seem tough, but they're sensitive. They need dry, airy surroundings, just like the soil they grew in. Locked in a humid fridge, their papery skins absorb moisture, creating a home for mold. Worse still, that black mold produces aflatoxin, one of the most powerful carcinogens known to medicine. A report from the University of Texas showed that after only 2 weeks in the fridge, the sugar content of onions rises 2 to 3 times, making them soft and destroying their ability to caramelize properly. Your sweet French onion soup will never taste the same again. So store onions in a dry, well-ventilated spot. Away from sunlight, a wicker basket or mesh bag works perfectly. And never keep them next to potatoes. The gases they release make each other spoil faster. Sometimes simply giving onions the right air to breathe is all it takes to preserve both their sweetness and your health. Picture this, it's morning. You open your fridge and the bananas you bought just yesterday are already black and mushy, as if someone had stolen their youth overnight. Most people think refrigerating bananas keeps them fresh longer. The truth is the opposite. Bananas are tropical fruits, children of the sun. Their cells are built for warmth, not cold. When placed in the refrigerator, the low temperature damages their cell walls, causing them to leak moisture and lose their enzymes within days. Over 80% of their vitamin C disappears. I've had many older patients tell me I eat bananas every day, but I still feel tired. When I ask how they store them, the answer is almost always the same. In the fridge, I tell them bananas are like people. They need warmth to keep their energy alive. Hang them at room temperature. Somewhere air can circulate, and if they become too ripe, don't throw them away. Peel, slice, and freeze them. Blended with yogurt or oatmeal, frozen bananas make a creamy, sweet smoothie that's even more delicious and more nutritious than fresh ones. My patient George, 71, began every morning with a strong black coffee. It's the only thing that makes me feel young, he'd say. But lately he complained that it didn't smell the same, even though I'm using the same beans. I asked where he kept them. In the fridge, he replied proudly. I smiled. That's the wrong kind of rest, I told him. Coffee is a living ingredient. Those tiny beans act like, sponges, absorbing every odor in your refrigerator from cheese to onions to leftovers. Within a week, they lose up to 60% of their natural aroma. Those delicate compounds coffee lovers call the soul of the morning. Cold air also solidifies the coffee oils that carry flavor, leaving you with a flat, bitter brew. I always advise my patients. Store coffee in an airtight, dark container at room temperature. And buy only what you'll use in a couple of weeks. If you must store it long-term, freeze it once in small portions. Thawing and refreezing will destroy the flavor completely. A good cup of coffee like a good morning doesn't need complexity. Just respect warmth and a little care. What's one? The potatoes that turned against themselves. In Seattle, I once visited a 75-year-old gardener who proudly grew his own vegetables. My potatoes taste amazing, he said, but after a few days in the fridge, they get weirdly sweet. He didn't know that the cold was quietly changing them. Potatoes, though humble, are sensitive. When chilled, they're starch turns into sugar. And when cooked, especially fried or roasted, those sugars react with amino acids to form acrylamide, a compound the World Health Organization classifies as a possible carcinogen. It sounds abstract, but it happens in ordinary kitchens every day. I told him keep potatoes the way they lived in the dark, cool earth. Store them at 45–50 degrees Celsius in a paper bag or open basket away from light, and never next to onions. Both release gases that make each other spoil faster. A warm golden potato on the pan isn't just food. It's comfort, memory, and home. To keep that simplicity, sometimes you just need to do one small thing. Don't put potatoes in the fridge. I'll never forget Rose, a 70-year-old organic gardener from California, who brought me a basket of bright red tomatoes from her yard. They smelled amazing when I picked them, she sighed. But after a night in the fridge, all the flavor was gone. Why? The truth surprises most people. Cold shuts down the very genes that create a tomato's aroma. Below 54 degrees, the genes responsible for fragrance and the enzymes that help us absorb lycopene, a heart-protective antioxidant, go dormant and never wake up. Even after warming, the damage can't be undone. Scientists call it the loss of essence. The tomato remains, but its flavor and nutrition vanish. I told her, let tomatoes live as they were born under soft light in warm air. Store them, stem side down, at room temperature out of direct sun. If they're too ripe, make sauce and freeze it. Cooking actually enhances lycopene absorption, turning overripe tomatoes into a gift for your heart. Sometimes the best medicine for food and for life is to simply let things breathe. One morning, Ellen, 73, brought me a jar of thick, grainy honey. I kept it in the fridge to keep it clean, she said, but it turned to sugar. I smiled gently. You've just taken away part of honey's soul, I told her. Honey is nature's perfect gift. It can last for thousands of years without spoiling, yet a few weeks in the fridge make it crystallize while its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory power drops by 35%. Each time you open a cold jar, condensation forms inside, dripping into the honey and feeding yeast growth, what ancient beekeepers called dead honey. I often remind my patients, honey is sweet medicine, but it only heals when kept warm. Store it at room temperature in a dry, shaded place. If it crystallizes, don't throw it out. Place the jar in warm water around 104 to 122 degrees and stir gently. Soon it will return to its golden, silky form. A spoonful of honey melting on your tongue each morning isn't just sweetness. It's a reminder that the purest things in life need warmth to stay alive. During a nutrition class for seniors, I once asked, who keeps olive oil in the fridge? Almost every hand went up. Margaret, 69, proudly said, I do, so it won't go rancid. I smiled. Actually, I told her the cold is what's weakening it. Olive oil is a living fat, rich in polyphenols and vitamin E compounds that protect your heart, fight inflammation, and slow aging. But when chilled, its molecules clump together, turning cloudy and separated. Within days, it can lose up to 40% of its antioxidant power. I always tell my patients olive oil is like your bloodstream. It thrives in warmth and gentle light. Keep it in a cool, dark place, away from direct sunlight and heat from the stove. And if it does solidify, don't panic. Just leave it at room temperature. It will clear up smooth and golden again. A good bottle of olive oil isn't just a kitchen staple, it's a quiet guardian for your heart. Treat it with the same care you give your own health, and it will return the favor in every drop.